Hello, everybody. I'm Vinicius, and I'm here in this very special episode. I'm with teacher Lara, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about her journey as a bilingual person, but not like us, probably, but as a bilingual that learned English first and then she learned Portuguese. So we're going to be talking about it here and how her life was in the United States, and also curiosities because she's got some things that are, I'd say, some things that are very interesting to say about her learning process. And okay, so just get ready. Let's get started. Hi, lad. How are you?
Hi guys. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. So you're a teacher today, and you used to teach kids, and now you don't, right? But why not? Can you tell them why you don't teach kids anymore?
It's basically just because I moved to another city, so I don't work in person in a course anymore. So I'm only online, and the kids are harder to get online. I wouldn't say it's impossible or anything, but it's a little harder, and I don't think that's my niche, like online kids. But when it was like in person, it was very cool. I like teaching the kids, the babies. It was very interesting. They're adorable and they learn like really fast and I don't know, only great things.
Oh, great. And we've been speaking, talking to each other in English now, but it's something that we don't usually do, right? Because many people ask us, why? Do you guys have fights? Do you guys have conversations at home in English? And for those who don't know, we're a couple. And yeah, we do not talk in English all the time. Like we have some, how is it? Can you tell them? How do you feel it? How do
I
you
wouldn't
feel?
say it's not we don't talk in English 24/7. It's not all the time, but I'm a person that switch languages a lot. So like the moment I'm speaking English, I my brain like disassociates and it goes to Portuguese and says another word in Portuguese because I don't know. I don't know the bilingual brain how it actually works, but I think like I don't translate the words, so I have two words, and sometimes it's more comfortable to say it in one language than the other. So it depends on the situation. But normally I switch languages a lot talking to friends, talking to you, when we argue or have like a discussion or want to talk about something, sometimes my more expressive version comes out in English and more argumentative version comes out in English than in Portuguese. But it really depends. It depends on the level. But we don't fight in English.
Yeah. Yeah, something that is said, it's pretty interesting. Said that you don't know how the brain works, but it's basically when it comes to languages, it's just like a box, you know. And this box we have three spaces: one space only and exclusive for your native language, and the other one for the other languages that you learn like throughout your life. So uh, that's why for you it's a little bit different from us, I guess. Like everybody that is listening to this audio, I'm pretty sure you guys learned English in your schools or maybe through your like childhood or maybe in your teens. But for Lottie, it was a little bit more different because she learned it when she was in the United States, and Portuguese is her second language. So her first response, her first reaction is it's always gonna be in English because that's what I don't know. It's more it is stronger for her, you know. So whenever she knocks her I don't know her toe on the wall, for example, or something like that, she she doesn't say like, "Oh, um," she's gonna curse, but probably in English. She's not gonna say that in Portuguese, you know.
Yeah, sometimes depends. Sometimes I curse in Portuguese. Sometimes I'll say a c word. I'll curse or
Yeah,
something.
and also when she curses in Portuguese, curses like when you say bad words, it's just because she doesn't feel it like we do. Sometimes she says something that are pretty. Uh, I've been realizing this for a while now, and I noticed it that for you, some bad words are not like for us, you know, because
They
we
aren't as strong.
yes, yes, it's not that strong
Like
for
I
you,
don't
but
feel the meaning.
Yeah,
Say
to
a
tear you
word.
down. Yeah, because sometimes she says some very bad words in moments that she shouldn't. But for us, for example, we try not to say that in some moments. But for her, it's kind of impossible. It's like part of her process. It's because she learned it like this, and she doesn't feel it like it is supposed to be like in Portuguese. So it's kind of crazy, and I've been like noticing it, and I went like, oh, I don't think she feels the same as I do. When she says some, I'm not gonna repeat it here, but like when she says some words. So it's kind of interesting. I get like, oh, I've never realized it. But yeah, we don't talk a lot with each other in English because we cannot have a full English conversation, but we also cannot have a full Portuguese conversation. It's always like switching. She switches more than me, more than I do, because sometimes I go out and I talk to people and I try not to speak English. But even when we're at the gym, she talks in English with people and she doesn't say like things, for example, personal trainer. She says personal trainer. Those kind of things she just can't say.
Difficult for me to make a mistake in English, like, for me to just kidding. No, but,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
to force a word, like, I can say Facebook, okay, I can say Instagram, but, like, some words what's an example of a word that I can't say? Some words I just can't, and I have to say it like in English. What is one? There's one that we use a lot, actually. I don't know if it's like a food or something, but there's something that we say. But personal trainer, I can say personal. It's kind of weird for me, actually, if I say personal
Yeah,
trainer.
because you really gotta focus and say that incorrectly.
Yeah, or
But
sometimes I mix both of them. I can say like personal trainer, or say like I mix personal trainer. Like sometimes my brain just like whatever language I don't. It's like I don't have a filter for the brain to the mouth. Like the brain just tells my mouth what to say and it just comes out and it doesn't rationalize. I don't know, it doesn't I
uh-huh.
don't know, it's strange.
Yeah, that's quite interesting actually. And I mean, we've been talking about it. And Lara, she was raised in the United States, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Where do you come from? How is it? How's your life? Are you Brazilian? Are you not Brazilian? How does it work?
Everyone asks this.
Yeah, that's why.
Um, I was born in Volta Redonda, Rio de Janeiro. I changed. And when I was like 1.5, I did not actually I just completed 1. I had my first birthday in Brazil, and my parents, my mom and dad decided to go to the United States, to, Orlando. So, we all went, and I lived in Orlando for, I don't know, probably 2 to 3 2. I don't know, until I was 2 or 3. And then my parents separated, and, my mom and I went to live with my aunt and whatever, but basically she got married again to a Cuban guy, he was my stepfather, and I was raised I then we moved to Miami, so I was basically raised in Miami for, I don't know, 6 years, probably 6 years in Miami, 2 years in Orlando. So, yeah, my first language is English, I was raised in Miami,
Mm-hmm. But you
and I
came
was
back to
raised
Brazil when you're basically 10, right? You say 9, but you were basically 10, like a few months to
yeah,
become
I
10.
was 9, it's 'cause for me, I came back, like I don't remember the day now, it was, like, October 23rd or 26th of 2008, in 2008. So, I came back when I was 9, and then in January is my birthday, so in January, I turned 10.
Mhm. So you
So,
basically
yeah.
spent your like the first decade of your life in the United States, basically like that, right?
Yeah.
If I can say. So, and how is it for you to come to Brazil? And what about I don't know, the routine and what people did here? Do you remember anything that was kind of like remarkable for you? That it went like, I mean, it doesn't need to be good or bad, just like crazy or different.
It's funny because I don't have many like, I don't have a lot of vivid memories of the States or of my recent arrival in Brazil. But I remember some things. I have, like, some memories, it's just not very vivid, but I remember, wait, let me think. It depends. Like, I don't remember my Portuguese learning process. I remember that it was easier for me. I didn't struggle a lot in the process at school. I struggled mostly with math, sometimes history. but, like, in general, I wasn't bullied or I had a strong accent, but I don't know how long it took for me to get rid of the accent, but I know it was, like, pretty fast, maybe a
Just
year or
for
2.
those who don't understand that accent is when you speak in a way, for example, you don't say in Portuguese like porta say porta or Rio, I don't know, Vinicius and you say Vinicius. So this is accent. So she had a very strong accent in Portuguese. She was
Yeah,
very
so, like,
American.
instead I know my grandma is my grandmother's name is Ligia. So today I can say Ligia, I can say bola, and I can say, like, vovó. But at the time, my uncles used to mock me, they used to make fun of me that I used to say, like, vovó Ligia. It was, like, a stronger accent. It was, like, bola. So it was a little like, I was learning, but it was, like, a year or 2 like this, and then I learned how to say it properly and things like that. So it wasn't that hard. But it was, like, very I remember, like, the food here, it wasn't that different. It was different, but it wasn't because my mom's Brazilian, so she cooked for me, so it's not like I always ate junk food, I always ate a sandwich for lunch. I used to eat normal food like us, like we do today, but yeah, there aren't many, many differences, like, in my routine in general. It's
Mm.
more of, like, a cultural shock at the moment.
Okay, and said something very interesting about your mom being married to a Cuban guy. So I mean, would you say that Portuguese is actually a third language because didn't you speak Spanish with them? How was it? Like, did you speak Spanish? You spoke English? How was it? Do you have any memories?
Okay, so if we're speaking, like, I don't know, if we say, like, for real, I would say Portuguese is my first language. But as a baby, so it's like the first language I had contact with when I was 1. I didn't know how to say it. I used to say, like, probably mamãe or something, or babble or something, but I didn't speak Portuguese. I wasn't, like, an active, speaker or listener. It was just, like, a normal, naturally immersed Portuguese. But I let's see, but learning, like school alphabetized, I was alphabetized in English. So my whole learning process, the alphabet was in English. That's the difference. And in United States, in Miami, when I went to school, we had Spanish classes as well. So my stepfather, he was Cuban. He was because they're separated. They got divorced. So I don't have contact with him. I mean, I don't have contact with him anymore. But he was Cuban, he is Cuban. And yeah, he spoke to my mom spoke to me. I don't know, this is confusing for me, but I think that he spoke in Spanish, I spoke in English, and my mom spoke mixed, a mix of English and Portuguese. She spoke mostly in Portuguese, I think, but I spoke to her in English, and he spoke to me in Spanish. So yeah, so I had a big culture, like a Spanish culture in my family, Cuban culture. 'Cause of his whole family, we went to barbecues, we went to the whole thing. His family was very big too, so I grew up with other cousins that were, Spanish speakers. So, yeah, it was bigger for me than Portuguese. So, technically, like, that would be the 2nd language, and then Portuguese, like, learning grammar and properly would be the 3rd.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of confusing. And you told me once that when you came to Brazil, you went to school, and then I remember you saying something like, "Oh, please don't tell that I'm not from here," or something. And then the coordinator just said like, "Oh, this is Lara. She came from the United States." Do you remember this story?
Yes, this is like I'm a very shy, introvert, reserved person. So like I hate until today, I hate attention, like all eyes on me. I hate people focusing on me. I don't like being the center of the attention. So, and I knew that everyone will have like a ton of questions. And I just arrived from the United States. I had no friends. I didn't speak like Portuguese that well. So, and I was 9. So it was very strange, and the first thing I said, like, "Mom, please don't tell anyone we came from the United States. Let's just try to blend in. I wanna blend in. I don't want it to be, like, that different." But then the first thing but then curiosity too. I was in 4th grade, This confuses me, but I think I finished 4th grade or 3rd grade. I don't know. I think I finished 3rd grade in United States, and here in Volta Redonda, when I went to the school, explained my situation, and they said, "Ah, she doesn't speak Portuguese very well. She doesn't know. She's never studied the language. How is she gonna do with other subjects, other contents?" So then they asked me to take a test, and they said if I passed this test, I would be able to go to 4th grade. That would be my normal grade, or if I went, like, really badly, um, I would have to go back and repeat, like, the 3rd, but the 3rd in Brazil, because I did the 3rd in United States. So, um, it went good, it went well, it was everything, it was okay, I passed. So I was able to go to 4th grade normally, and my mom said that she would help me and teach me and tutor me, so that's what happened, and I had some difficulties, I wasn't perfect or anything, but I was able to get by and pass it. But, yeah, so the first thing she did when I entered the room was like, "Hey guys, this is Lara. She just came from the United States, or she's from Miami, I don't know. And yeah, let her know that she's welcome and blah, 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 blah." And I was sat like in the middle of the classroom. There was like 5 rows and aisles, and I sat like in the middle, kind of in the back. And, like, the same moment I sat down, a bunch of kids circled all around me and asked me, like, tons of questions, like, "Did you go to Disney? How do you say a bad word in how do you say, like, pequepe in English?" And I was, like, 9. I didn't even know I couldn't even curse in English. My mom didn't let me say stupid in English, so I didn't even know the curse words in Portuguese, and they already wanted me to say bad words. But, yeah, so they asked me, like, a ton of questions, and I felt lost and confused and, like, very kinda popular, like, the
You
center of
remember
attention.
the time that you couldn't understand them, like, "What are they talking about? What's that? I
Really?
don't get it."
Not really. I remember my friends telling because we had, like, pairs, né, and especially me because I was new, so I had to pair up with another friend so they could help me if I had any questions or any difficulty. So I remember one of my friends, she said, like, that I asked her, "What is, like" "Okay, guys, you have to do número cinco." And I asked her, like, "What is número?" And I was like but I don't remember this, but she told me this, like, many years later, and I was like, "No, that's impossible." So, yeah, so some things I just didn't know, I didn't understand, I just, like I just learned through the process, immersion, and yeah, that's it, so
Yeah.
but it wasn't
When people, like, discover her story, people asking sometimes, like, "Vinicius, but does she speak in Portuguese normally, or, like, as a native person?" And I go, "Yeah." But there are a few words she just can't say it. Like, for example, she can't say, bonito, for example, because we Brazilians usually say bonito because our O is not very emphasized. You know? So, like, when we basically separate the syllables, we say bonito, but in a normal conversation, we say bonito. Oh, okay. Like, for example, esse prédio aqui é muito bonito. She says, like, bonito. She separates the syllables depending on the word. If it's like a no, you know? And it's not an accent, but it's kind of cute, you know? Like, oh, where is he from? Like, she doesn't seem like a person who used to live in Volta Redonda or something, but also she's got a very mixed Brazilian accent, you know, because she's also lived in other cities. So it's
Yeah.
quite interesting. Yeah. Okay. And are there any funny or embarrassing mistakes you've made like throughout the years in
I
Portugal?
remember when I just arrived in Brazil, this is, like, the moment my grandparents went to pick me up from the airport, the same day, we got in my grandfather's car, and I said to him, um what did I say? I said to him like, it was a small car, I don't know cars today, so I don't know, but it was, like, a small, kind of, like, so not comfortable. It was, like I was used to another car in the States, and I was, like, a very innocent child, so I didn't know that I couldn't say something, like, you that's kinda rude to say to somebody, but yeah, so I just, like, said it, and I said, like, "Oh my gosh, Bo, this is your car" que eu falei? Wait, I said, "Nossa, seu carro é muito inconfortável." And then my grandfather said, "What?" I was like, inconfortável. And then they told me it's like, Lara, it's now I'm confused. It's desconfortável.
Yeah.
Okay, now my brain got lost for a moment. So yeah, then he's like, Lara, it's desconfortável. And I was like, I'm okay. So yeah, so used to mix né, uncomfortable, and I knew that the word was confortável, and I just put inconfortável. And when there was
Like in
another word,
English.
yeah, but in English actually it was un, né, so I don't know, but
Yeah, we have on and in for negative
yeah.
adjectives.
But there was also when I was writing spelling, I was actually pretty good at spelling at grammar,
Huh.
but
I should show you guys a few letters she used to write to her
I
mom,
need to
and
find these
then
letters.
it's very
One
funny
day
because
I'll read
everything she
them.
wrote was very incorrect, so it was very funny.
But I was good at grammar and Portuguese, at spelling. Like, I always knew, like,
Really.
acento circunflexo, I know acento agudo, I know all the eu sei crase, like, I know a lot of, accents that my friends used to call them, like, acento chapeuzinho do vovô, and I was like, acento circunflexo, and I was like so I used to know how to spell. I'm great at spelling. So, there was once that I wrote, like, in intelligent. How do we spell intelligent? Intelligent, right? So I think in Portuguese, I said like inteligente. I wrote like, I don't know, double L's and I wrote another E. I wrote E instead of I. So it was like, my mom is very inteligente, like a little, and then she corrected me, but yeah, sometimes I made a mistake like that, but it wasn't
Mm.
that big of a deal.
Something pretty interesting is that like you learned Portuguese by learning Portuguese, like by studying it, right? Basically, we learned Portuguese by speaking, just like you did with English. So, when you became an English teacher, how was it? Like, did you have any contact with English before? Because you became a teacher when you were 19, 20, I guess, or 21 almost, something like that. So, how did you spend all of the like 10, 12 years having no contact with the language? How was it for you?
That for me is very strange. I stopped to think about this like 5 years ago, and it's crazy because I came to Brazil. I am fluent in English. I was raised in the United States. My first learning language, like grammar language, written language is English. But when I arrived to Brazil, I never spoke English again. So, like, I had contact, everything I did was in English, music, TV, series, it was always in English, captions in English too. But I never listened to, like, I used to listen to some Brazilian songs, but it wasn't, like, a current, um, recurring, sorry. But I forgot.
It's okay. I
I
hear that.
forgot what was the question?
How you had contact with English.
Oh, yeah, I forgot, I lost myself. Dad, do the question again, sorry.
Okay. So, Lara, for you, how was it for you, like, for not having contact with English for over 10 years because you became a teacher when you were basically 21, 20, 21, and you came to Brazil when you were almost at the age of 10. So, like, basically for 10 years, you didn't have contact with the language. Or did you talk to people? Did you have any friends? How was it?
Yes, no, I came to Brazil and I basically never spoke English again. I spoke like I think when my cousins arrived, I spoke, but it was like a one-time thing. I spoke to one person in English and I was shy. I was like very embarrassed to speak English. As a child, the thing that everybody says is like this got me as a child. The only thing I'm very shy, I'm reserved, so the only thing that got me was like, "Ah, you speak English?" Yeah, it's like in Portuguese, né, it's like, "Você fala inglês? Então fala." And it's always like this, and I was like, "No, I'm not gonna say a random sentence, like, what do you want me to say? I can say anything you'd like me to, but I'm not gonna start speaking English randomly." So everyone, like, every kid used to say that, and I never spoke English. I used to listen to music, watch TV shows, everything in English, but I never had contact with anyone. And as I grew and I, became a teenager, I still had no contact with English. Some of my friends used to play video games and they had like these English words, but I still never spoke to anyone a conversation in English. So I got my first job as an English teacher because I wanted a job. I was 20 or 19. I think I just turned 20, and I wanted a job, so I was like, "Ah, let's try to see if I can get an English, teaching job." So, I applied for a job, and I got accepted, and my first time at the job, that's where I met Vinicius actually, by the way. So, like, the first thing that they used to be like this, and they used to mix languages, and they used to be able they are able, I'm able today, but they were able to have a full conversation in English, like, automatically, directly. And for me, my first language was English, but I couldn't do this because I had no practice. I was, like, 10 years
Mhm.
without practicing it. So I was rusty. So I didn't have, like, any I know a lot of things. Vinicius asked me today, like, "How do you know this word?" I know random words, like, from random topics, from medical, from everything, so different. So I know many things, but I didn't know how to say it, like, how to speak in a conversation. So, as soon as I started teaching English, I had to learn it. What do you mean learn it? Like, I didn't know the grammar. I remember in tests, my mom was actually my English teacher in high school when I was in high school. And I remember in a test, some tests were like, there was a phrase. Which phrase is present perfect? And then there were like 3 phrases, like, I went to the doctor, I have been to the doctor, I am going to the doctor. And in my head, what was I used to doing? I was used to finding mistakes. I was like, "Okay, this is wrong, this is right." So, for me, 3 of the options were right, but I didn't know what was present perfect. I didn't pay attention in English class, like, to learn. I was just, like, listening to my mom
You
speak.
already knew how to speak it, right? So why
Yeah,
learn it?
so I wasn't paying attention. It was, like, irrelevant to me. So, like, I didn't learn that in at school, in high school. So, when I became a teacher, that was a missing part that I really needed to learn. How am I gonna teach someone if I don't know, like, how it goes? I just know how to speak it. And
Yeah.
if they ask me why, I'm gonna be like, "I don't know, it's just because." So, today, I'm
Why do you have
confident.
to say when and not go? Ah, because yes. Where?
Yes.
What a
So
question.
so it was very cool because I had my English teachers, my English friends, né? Vinicius, Glads, Diego. I used to always be like, okay, guys, I'm going to teach about will versus going to. So, how's it go? So then they
I
used to
remember
say,
that during COVID, the pandemic. Sorry for interrupting, but I have to tell this. During the pandemic, there was a time we were like having video calls, like everybody, like friends. We're like we couldn't see each other, but like the thing is, Lara used to have some video calls with me because we were already dating, so we're talking to each other. And in some of them, I basically was teaching her. And one of them was past perfect. I was teaching her how what past perfect is and how to use it because she's used it like so many times, and she had used it before as well. So, but she didn't know how to do it. And I remember a time that's very interesting because I just thought like, oh, because I mean, my English was okay. I- my friends' English, like they were okay too. But the thing is, it was okay. Brazilian people speak English. But then when Lara started working with us, I sort of like thought, oh, I need to step up. I need to step up my game because I mean, she's pretty great. And there was a time she was basically there was a student that was, I don't know, kind of like sleepy, and the coordinator, I guess, knocked on the window and just showed Lada that the girl was like basically sleeping. And then Lada just got to our teacher's lounge saying, like, ah, what am I to do? Like, am I supposed to like grab her head up or something and say, like, oh, wake up, pay attention to the class or something? But I mean, she said it very fluently in a way that I could never reproduce. So I was like, "Oh, Jesus, damn, she speaks English. Yeah, she's pretty fluent, you know?" I was, "Whoa, amazing." And then I can totally say that I've helped her, not only me, but I've helped her a lot with grammar and those kind of things because she's never, just like she said, she's never studied it. Actually, she has, but no, she had never. But anyways, with English, and sometimes when I'm teaching here online and she listens to something, she's just taking note of things that I'm saying correctly, you know, and she goes like, "Vinicius, that's not how you say it." Something that she did like a couple years back was it was when she said like, how do you say that? I said, strawberry, né? And then she says, no, it's not strawberry, it's strawberry. I was like, okay, thank you very much. And also, nobody, né? Because there is a song, I forgot the song now, but they say, nobody,
Fun.
ta-na-na-na-na-na, and it's like nobody, nobody's only the song. So, she helps me every single day. So I'm always learning English with Lara, and she's always learning, I don't know, watching TV shows or something. Cause and I've been reading some books, not a lot, but I've been trying, and I always try to challenge her like, "Oh, what's that?" And she goes like, "Duh." I go, "Wait, how do you know that? You know, like how do you know that? Like you were a kid when it comes to burger.
Yeah.
Like how do you know this word? Like no reason
I'm
for
like,
that."
I don't know. I just know it.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty.
crazy how it works. It's just immersion, I think. Just listening, my brain. I think my brain evolves better probably in English. If I were to learn a word in Portuguese, I wouldn't probably remember it like that much. I don't know. But in English, somehow I hear it like maybe once or twice in a series or podcast or something, and it just, oh, okay.
Okay. And
Crazy.
today, like how do you keep learning? And do you have any interests? Like, what do you want to do when it comes to languages? Do you want to learn any other languages? Do you speak any other languages? Tell us.
I, to be honest, I don't continue learning English. Like, I learned everything in 3 years. Like, I would say, like, 3 years of teaching. Sometimes I ask Vinicius, like, help. So, cause what's my thing? I learned English naturally through immersion. So, I don't know how would I would explain. He understands the process of learning it in Portuguese. So,
Yeah.
I wanna know his perspective, like, how would I explain this to a student? Like, what is question he's gonna ask me? What are his like, what's gonna happen? So I sometimes come to him for like, how would I explain this? If they ask me this, what do I say? So, but normally, like, I already know I'm not perfect in English, okay? It's not just because I was raised there that I'm perfect. No, my vocabulary could be a lot better actually. But as a teacher, we have beginner students and things, so we downgrade a little our vocabulary. But so I don't learn English, like, I don't focus on learning English. I'm just through series, movies, I catch up on, vocabulary and things like this, expressions and things, but, like, grammar, I don't really study it.
Yeah.
Spanish, I used to have it in the States, and in Brazil, I think I have some classes in Brazil too in the beginning, and then when it went to, like, 6th grade, it stopped. But yeah, so I lost my Spanish and I would like to like gain it back, like to rekindle it. I don't know. So, um, I started studying Spanish 2 years ago, I think, but 3 years ago probably.
Yeah, I think three. Yeah.
3 year because I stopped. It's been like 1 year and almost 2 years that I stopped. I don't know.
No, I think it was last year.
Yeah, so I think I studied Spanish for a year and a half. I had online classes and I studied Spanish for probably 1 or 2 years. But I stopped. It's been like a year that I've stopped, and I'd like to go back and learn it, and continue to learn it because I don't know. I'm not a big. I don't know. For me, I'm a beginner, but I don't know. Maybe
Oh shoot, not at all. I've
I would be a
been
pre-intermediate, maybe an
I've been
upper.
studying a little now, but I couldn't speak a word, and Lara used to mock me all the time because she said that I would be like a gringos, like talking Spanish. But I've been studying now, and it's been great. And she kind of like participated of one of our classes, and then she was so great. And even my teacher Giovanni, he also works for one language school now. You guys can study with him, and he said like, "Oh, great, she speaks very well, right?" I said, "Yeah," and then he said, "Oh, just like let's have conversation classes," because he said, "No, Lada speaks pretty well," and she does. Her Spanish is pretty beautiful. She's got a very Latino, but Caribbean accent, and it's very nice. She speaks very well. And okay, but the only language that she's actually learning now as a that's crazy because she's like basically learning her third language, and the only one that she really needs to study or something is Spanish, you know. And that's crazy because I've been learning my fourth now, and I have to study like every single one of them. You know, not Portuguese, not that much, but like the rest, yeah. And but she's studying the language for the first time now. It's very interesting the process because she's not like she's still discovering how to do it. The process of like studying a language, right? Because the other ones you basically learned through immersion. So, but
Yeah.
that's very nice. Okay, and I mean, basically to finish here, or almost in the end, what's your favorite word in English?
Mm.
Be careful.
I don't know. I have one since I was like 10 that was serendipity. But I would say there are other words that I really like. I don't know if I can remember them like spot on, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I can remember any. But I have some words. You had to ask me before so I could come prepared with my
Okay, no. No, that's okay. And is there anything that you like saying Portuguese?
like a word, a normal word, like
A normal word, yes. Or something that you don't feel comfortable saying?
in Portuguese.
Yeah, because for me, for example, in English, even though I've been speaking for a while now, I really have to put effort when I'm trying to speak a few words, like say a few words, like RL, like world, girl, those kind of things are very difficult for me. You know, I really need to pay attention. And sometimes you're not going to sound well, I'm not going to be able to do it. But for you, is there any words that in Portuguese sometimes you really need to pay attention? Otherwise, you're gonna say something kind of like funny.
No, I don't think so. I think it's only like I have to pay attention to remembering how to say it in Portuguese. Like I can't just say personal trainer with anybody. Like I need to
Okay.
be like he's
Fechado.
Brazilian. I need to say personal.
Okay, I get it. And how do you say blender in Portuguese?
Ah, Fê.
How is it?
Liquidificador.
Yeah, she had to do
He
like a
mocked
grammar.
me just because. Okay, guys, wait. If you say this word fast, how do you say it? I'm gonna give you a second to say it. Say it right now in Portuguese. Okay, how do you say that? You say liquidificador. So sometimes I would just like I would eat. Como que é? I would eat the word and say like liquidifica. No, it wasn't a
He
liquidificador.
says liquidificador.
No, that's
He
wrong.
says like, Vinicius, we need to buy a new liquidificador. You know,
No, but no,
when
but
the
I
words
know that
are
it's
long,
liquidificador.
she goes very American and she goes like liquidificador. You know,
It's because it's fast, but I know how to spell it. I know how to say it. It's
no,
just that when
nobody's
I'm
saying that.
having.
Nobody's saying that you don't. For example, I know how to write girl. I know how to say world. But like, does it mean that I'm always gonna say
I
like
know, but
correct?
it looks like it looks like I don't know how to say it. Like,
No, no, no. She
it,
knows.
it,
Lara speaks Portuguese as a native person, But I mean, depending on the word, she has lots of accent. For example, say like, that actor is very beautiful, very handsome. How do you say that in Portuguese?
esse ator é muito bonito.
Like slower, please.
Esse ator é muito bonito.
Like the way she says it. See, guys, I don't know if you can get it. Like there is
I
something.
don't like. I don't know. I can't say bonito. Bonito is strange for me. Kind of like boneca too. I say like aquela boneca. Like I
Bonita for
can't
me, it put lots of emphasis.
I can't say
Boneca.
bo. I can't say boo. Like I need to say bo. If it's bo, I need to say bo. So
Uh-huh.
like
But it really depends on the words. But that's just like a joke we're having here. All right, guys. That's it for today. The episode was pretty funny, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a challenge for you all because Lottie speaks very, just like you could see, very naturally. She's very fluent, you know. And it was a pleasure having you here. Thank you very much, Lottie. How was it for
thank you
you?
for having me. It was good. I'm sorry if I made any mistakes. I'm sorry if I spoke too fast. If there are any other topics you guys want to know that we didn't go through or that we skipped or missed,
Mhm.
let us know and we can record something else, a different thing, different suggestions.
Your stories. Thank you very much for the audience. And I'll see you next episode. Bye bye, guys. See you. Thank you.
Bye.